everyone, Nancy Burt-Preece here. I'm going to share with you a really fun card that I found with Onygo stamping. Onygo stamping, Onygo. So let me show you how easy it is to make this. For some reason, something fell off. I don't know, it's a little bumpy. There we go. That's better. So this she called the Zigzag Strip technique. So let me show you. It's still a little crooked. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can get that a little bit better. Okay, I guess that's as good as I'm getting it on today. So it's relatively easy supply. I went with Berry Burst, and it's your regular 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 Berry Burst. This is my inside white, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a scrap here that I'm going to use to punch out. And I have some of this wonderful velvet meadow paper. And the strips are 2 3/4 inch long, and some of them are 3/4, some of them are 1/4, some of them are a half, just different. I wouldn't go past 3/4, and I can't imagine trying to adhere a 1/8 of an inch, but you could try it. I'm also using the Exciting Times bundle, which comes with this wonderful punch. I am using Berry Burst ink and Memento ink. I'm using foam adhesive strips, and I'm using these metallic gems. And I think that's all. So let me show you how I'm going to do it. The first thing I'm going to do is get a silicone mat. It sometimes works easier when you're doing techniques like this. So I just go randomly. I don't really think of patterns. This is for my inside. So I just kind of go whichever way I want. And I would start with liquid glue. It just kind of makes your life easier. And I'm kind of, you notice, kind of, and I might have to come back and add some glue. We'll go from there. All right. So I'm going to start by adding my first piece at the bottom. And the really important part is to get it as straight as possible. So I'm going to turn it over. Kind of move that so it doesn't stick so much. Make sure, look, that looks pretty good. That's pretty straight. Our goal is to continue on that way. You can alternate. And if you're going to add a little bit more, you can always add a little bit to the top. If you're going to make it up a little farther. Oops, I can't do the same color. Let me try this one. Could I use both sides? Yes. I chose to use the side with the really fun colors. You want it to lop off the edge a little bit. You want it to kind of go over on the edge. Try to keep them right next to each other. And then maybe I'll do this. This is the plain colors in the Velvet Meadow. And this is that Peaceful Pine. Is that pretty or what? It's just so beautiful. I really love the paper. If you are a customer or come to any of my classes, I've used it a lot because I really like it. I just like it that it has that really pretty velvety feel. And there is no rhyme or reason you can go. They don't have to match in any way. She suggested you use about 10 to 12 of these. I think I have 11 right here. If I need to, I can always cut another one. And like I say, this is not rocket science. I'm just kind of putting them on there. I'm just kind of making sure that glue doesn't really get on that velvet. There is no, sometimes they go more ragged than others. You can do anything you want. There is no reason you have to do anything. And you know what I'm going to do? I don't normally do this, but I'm picking this up if I can. Because I decide I need some of these smaller, thin pieces to go. You probably haven't done that ever. You put a piece down and you decide, well, I don't really like that one. So this is a great technique to show you can mix and match however you choose. Now I'm going to try that piece. And I'll add a little bit more glue. I might add a little bit more glue here. Let's see. I'll go down a little bit. So once again, fun technique, easy technique. You know, a lot of people ask me, what do you do with all your paper scraps? Well, this is a great example of something to do with paper scraps. And the nice thing is they don't have to be the same size. I think that's pretty key because people do think that you have to have the same size when you're doing things like this, and you don't. You know, sometimes you can do all 1/2 inch and that looks really uniform and neat. But I wanted to show you where you could, see that one's a little crooked, to pick it up and make it really straight. This one you don't have to. You can make it all different kinds of sizes. And let's go here. And now I left a teeny tiny strip. I'm actually, yeah, I can put it, because I have a silicone mat, I can go ahead and put it here. Maybe I'll just put it there. I'm going to let those sit for just a minute, and we'll do the top part. The reason being is that the first time I tried this, I tried to move them right away, and some of them came apart. And you definitely don't want that. So you want to let it sit for a minute, because it is glue. It takes a little bit to just take and hold a little bit. Then I'm going to come in. I like using things that say, let's celebrate, because then when I'm putting on the inside, I can put happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy whatever you want to celebrate. So that is kind of a fun way to do it, where you have lots of options. Here is this punch. I always tell people to stamp first and then punch. It just makes it easier to line it up. And no, I'm not going to do it on camera, but we'll see. Oh, pretty good. So that is an easy way to do that. Now I'm going to come back, and these look pretty good. So before I do anything like that, a little bit of glue there, I do have to trim off this one. Now, this is the hard part. Last time I tried to do it on my trimmer, and it did work. I'm just going to get that extra glue off there. It did work. So I'm going to show you. This is how Heidi, who is Onigo Stamping, did hers. Just this part that you're trimming, you're going to put it so that this piece is in your paper trimmer, and you're going to use your dark blade. Oops, there we go. And just trim up. That way you get it nice and straight. And that worked perfect. Now the next part, you are going to use your scissors. So it's only that little part that you need your paper trimmer. I learned a lot from the first time I made this. Number one, when I come through, I'm going to put that down a little bit farther. But you know, you try it first. I always try it, and then I hope to find little tricks to share with people. I'm seeing some people on, and it's great to see you. If you have comments or questions, please share. I'm not always great at seeing them while I'm doing the video, but I will go back and check. Okay, so now I'm going to I'm going to trim it off just a little bit above. And I'm going to come back, hold that for a second, and do that over here too. I don't like it when that shows too much. So I don't need a lot trimmed off, but just a little so it doesn't show. Now, last time I did them pretty close together. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to make them a little bit farther apart. It'll hold it better. Now, you can mix and match, and if you do it with a class, you can have a couple of, they could start with one and trim off. Oops, let me get that. Come on. And there we go. You could use part and then go through a little bit farther. I put it right down, and that one I've got sticky, so I'll put it over here. But these last a long time. So if you haven't used the foam adhesive strips, they're really, really neat. And they have lots of uses. So now I'm going to come back, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to come as close as I can. And get that all trimmed off. And there you go. The beautiful thing is, and see some of that little pink came off, and we'll put that back on in a second. And this is going to just go over here. Since the top came off a little bit, we're going to make sure and just line up the bottom and the sides, and then I'll show you how I'm going to fix that. That's the only bad thing about using a teeny tiny piece on the top, because sometimes it does come off. But there's always a way to fix it. I don't know about you, but there's always something you can do. So I'm coming right in on the edge, making sure that is right down to the bottom. Don't put it all down yet. That's the hardest part. Making sure it's way down at the bottom, right over to the edge. Right over to the edge, and that slid a titch. Don't you love when that happens? Especially when I'm on camera. I really love when that happens. So, it's not the easiest. You have to be kind of careful with it. You're going to move this over just a smidge. There, that's better. I fuss with it sometimes too much, You just have to go, okay, that's the way it is. There's a little bit of the berry burst showing there. I'm really going to be okay with that. Okay, so now you've got this part. I'm going to come back with that teeny berry burst. You saw it. It was right here. That's the other thing I always do when I'm on camera. Did it come off? Well, I will just cut another tiny little piece. Not a problem. I have a little piece here, and I'm going to just kind of match it up here. Would have been helpful if I kept the same piece. That would have made everybody's life easier. But what fun is that? Because, you go someplace and somebody does something and you have to fix it anyway. So I'm going to come here, take that little piece, and you probably have a better idea on how to do that. Make it much easier. But I'm just going to come back and cut. And what did I just do wrong? Because this one will be longer. Oops. Don't you like how I did that? That one will be longer. Okay, let's maybe go there. It's not going to be exact. If somebody comes and looks at the card, they're going to go, golly gee, that is not right. And that's okay. It's a handmade card. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is that one will come out a little bit less than this one. Push that on there. I made another one and never had that problem. Of course. And I'm going to come back. There it is. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Let's use that. That'll make our life easier. I knew I had it. I knew I didn't do something with it. Okay. And there we go. So much easier than trying to mess around with what I was doing. And if you want to bring that up a little bit so it's not quite so sticky, there we go. Isn't that an easy technique, especially if you don't make a mess in the middle of it like I like to try to do. Now, last time I put this, actually I put it like this. And my husband and I were looking at it, look at it. We go, we don't like that. So I'm going to put it like down a little bit farther, and I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to pop it up, but I'm going to put it to the side. And then you can tell me, you can see I ripped that up a couple of times. Tell me which way you like it. The beautiful thing is when I'm doing it with customers or my friends and we're stamping, you know, you're probably the same way. people can do it whichever way they want. The most important part to know is you need your strips to be 2 3/4 strips long. And then as far as what you do, you know, maybe I'll put it like that. We'll see. That one's still hanging on there. And this time, I'll just put one there. I like these metallic gems. They just give you a little bit of something, but they're not too much. Come on. My take your pick tool is packed for a class. So which one do you like best? Please let me know. Have you ever tried that technique before? Let me know. The next part is to adhere it to your card. And then for the inside, sometimes I always put the strips like on the bottom. And sometimes it's fun to put the inside strips on the side. Yeah, I still have this kind of bumpy. Sorry about that. This is also from that same Exciting Times. And this is a 1/2 by 5 1/4. So it's a little bit smaller. Just put it like that. So often if I use a lot of designer series paper on the outside of the card, I do use a paper strip on the inside. Just makes it kind of coordinate and a fun idea. And there you have your card. Very fun, really easy, and you use up those paper strips. So I hope you try it. If you have done something like this or you have a card like that, please share it in the comments so we can see all the creative ideas. I hope you have a great day. Take care.